Zap's a king. Zap thing. And the Bitcoin amigos Friday stream. Energy high, it's like a dream. Music pumps the price higher. Chris, Jordan, Jerry inspired. It's Fat Zap Friday. You might zap less on any other day, but today is Fat Zap Friday. Yeah. Real fat zaps coming in hot, spreading the love, hitting the spot. Yeah. Fat Zap Friday. Yeah. Community loves to show their support. Hype in the chat like it's a sport. Friday stream turned up to 10. Fat lightning strikes again and again. Fat Zap Friday. You might zap less on any other day, but today is Fat Zap Friday. Yeah. Real fat zaps coming in hot, spreading the love, hitting the spot. Yeah. Fat Zap Friday. Yeah. Lightning from your fingertips, like a kiss from orange lips. Zap's a king, it's Zap's a king. It's a zap thing. Yeah, it's Fat Zap Friday. You might zap less on any other day, but today is Fat Zap Friday. Yeah. Real fat zaps coming in hot, spreading the love, hitting the spot. Yeah. Fat Zap Friday. Yeah. Zap's a king. It's a zap thing. Zap's a king. Zap's a king. Zap's a king. It's a zap thing. Zap's a king. It's a zap thing. Zap's a king. Zap's a king. It's a zap thing. Yeah. Zap's king.
Hey, there we go. Happy Fat Zap Friday. How good is that tune? Oh my God. It's impossible to get any better than that. It'd be absolutely impossible. Okay, let's check in on the zaps for Fat Zap Friday here. I'm so out of sync here. I thought that song was going to be longer. I had to go get my coffee. Can you hear me? Is everything good here? I'm just paranoid now. I'm paranoid as shit. I don't see anything on Zapstream. All right. Well, hello out there. We're on the air. We are absolutely on the air. Happy Friday, everybody. Feels pretty good. Anyways, that song. How about that song? That one's called Fat Zap Friday. Why did I look like I have a turtleneck on here? Turtle man. All right, let's just get a few things under control out of the way. Hard money cannot stay niche. And where's Fat Zap Friday? We don't even have a goal Fat Zap Friday yet? What are we doing? Okay. Let's try this again. Hello out there. We're on the air. Audio is good. That's good. Thank you. Welcome back to Friday. Welcome back to the Daily Bitcoin Journey. This show focuses on actionable and logical discussion for Bitcoiners and for future Bitcoiners. Good to see everybody in the chat this morning. It's going to be a shorter show today. Today might be the busiest day of my life. Well, one of them anyways. We got lots going on. I need to top up my balance here in the Zap stream. Let's try out the speed wallet. All right, how we doing? How we looking? We got Jason. Good morning, Jason. Good to see you, my friend. We got Lori lifted, weights lifted, dog walked, sats stacked. Good on you. Good on you. I'm a Friday buyer myself. I call it Friday buy day because you buy a few sats, buy day, and also the biceps. Do some curls, do some pull-ups, look after the biceps. So it's Friday buy day all day today. Hopefully we get a workout in ourselves here, but we'll see. All right, rent has been paid. Let me know if you're out there, Zapstream. I just paid the rent there, so make sure that you let me know that you're there. Timber Crasher. Good morning, Bitcoiners. I became an uncle yesterday. Wow. Congratulations, my friend. God is good. Yeah, no doubt. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. Tom, good morning. Duncan, good morning. Akil. Big Daddy Long Legs. It's Friday. Amen to that. Boss. I'm going to call you Boss. Sounds better. Good afternoon for me. When do we start? We have begun. Morning, Jay. Buck 52,000s. Greetings, humans. Oh, my back's sore. Jason, good to see you, buddy. Ian, happy TFI Friday. Good morning, Ian. Andrew, cold here in Florida, 15 degrees Celsius. Yeah, that's freezing. Ask Dale if that's cold. Dale, would you say that 15 degrees is cold right now? It was like minus 41 here yesterday. Nuts. It's kind of like shitty because obviously with Arnie, he's a very active dog. And so even when it's like minus 41, like I have to take him for a walk. Otherwise, he's just going to go crazy in this house. So I took him for a walk yesterday. And I feel bad for him because even a dog that's built for the snow, like he could probably stay out there for hours, but he gets snow caught in his paws. So then he has to like sit down and try to lick it off. It's pretty sad to watch, honestly. But it's not like he's cold. It's just the snow bunches up in between his paws. So he doesn't like that. Where is Arnie? He was here. Anyways, good morning, Dale. Thrago, good morning. Eden, good morning, Bitcoin amigos. Hey, speaking of that, let's so that song was called Fat Zap Friday that we started the show with today. What an amazing song. That's from the Bitcoin Amigos album. Yeah, that's right. Bitcoin Amigos have an album. Who could have thought? Who would have thought? Not me. But I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's different. I like things that are different. And there's no other YouTube channel with an album that I'm aware of. Bitcoin YouTube channel. So shout out to the Bitcoin Amigos. And as Eden said here, we are all Bitcoin Amigos. That's why I love the name. That's why I love this thing we got going on, the Bitcoin Amigos. So head over there. It looks like we've had quite a few people subscribe in the last week, which is good, but we can get those numbers up. There's more people that watch this show every day than subscribers to this channel. So if you enjoy this show, you're going to enjoy the Bitcoin Amigos. You're probably going to enjoy that more. It's a fun show we do about Bitcoin every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time with Jerry from Jerry Loves Freedom and Chris from Fractal Bitcoin and myself. So that is today, upcoming. And so make sure you head over there, subscribe, click the like button if you haven't. I already have. That's good. We'll start that chat off for the day. So head over there, subscribe, and sign up for the notifications. So it's Friday afternoon. You're not going to miss it. You're not going to be too busy looking at the clock, wishing you were going home. You can tune in. Also, we started posting videos on the channel, like clips from the show. So look at these nice thumbnails that Chris made. You can watch me shotgunning a beer for 100K. That's on there now. So we started putting, like, this one's 8 minutes long, 1 minute long, 2 minutes long, me shotgunning a beer. So if you don't have time to watch the full show, you can also watch some of the highlights from every show. So check it out. Support the amigos. We're early today. I never even thought about that. We're early today. I have a meeting at 9 today, and I want to do a second part of the show. So this is going to have to be a real quick episode today. So I can't be plucking around too much here. MSTR inclusion today. Wow. And the stock has hardly moved this week. Like, are people that in the dark? Holy shit. That was fucking hot. I literally made that right before the show, I guess. So that's probably why. Okay, Raven, good morning. Best place to P2P, no KYC. Bisq. Yeah, Bisq works good. HODL. If you're in Canada, you can actually do it without another peer. You can just do it with a voucher, which is pretty badass. And I've stopped talking about it on the public show because last time that was available in Canada, I did a show on it. And I don't know if it had any sort of impact on the government shutting it down. But anyways, like a couple months later, they stopped doing that. So I'm not going to talk about it on the public show anymore. So if you're in Canada and you want some non-KYC Bitcoin, just shoot me an email and I'll give you the way to do it. There's a couple different ways, but there's one that's pretty easy. But yeah, Bisq, HODL, join a Bitcoin community. Honestly, that's like that's a good one. Like, if within Living the Future, there's people looking to buy, there's people looking to sell. So that's a good way to do it too. Your Bitcoin network is going to be very important. I don't want anybody to underestimate the Bitcoin network over these next couple of years. Daddy-O, good morning. Good to see you, man. M, good morning, Chief. Good morning to you. We got Cleaner Machine Inc. official. Good morning from Alberta. Yeah. Alberta also would take 15 degrees Celsius all day long. Diego, good morning, buddy. Yeah, I was going to get him some dog shoes, but like, I don't know. He's a winter dog. So, I mean, I get it. It's probably a good idea. I just don't think that he would, I don't think he would have any of that, to be honest with you. Buck52 says, my dog is a female Shepdoodle named Judy. Wow, that's a good name. I like that. I think Judy and Arnie are from the same generation. Jonas, wow, greetings from Shenyang, China. I'm a German expat, BMW, and doing great here. Wow. Welcome to the community, Jonas. That's awesome, man. Or woman, but that's it. Still getting my BTC each month, DCA. Nice work there. Nice work. Ginger in the house. Oh, I see Rick's comment here. Tax wax. I never thought. Paul wax. Gotcha. Never heard of that before. Rick says, have you smashed the like yet? Have you? Doesn't look like it. Looks like less than half of the audience has liked the show so far today. How come? Don't like my outfit? Don't like that Arnie's not here? What's holding you back? What's holding you back? That's what you have to ask yourself. Boss, I'm ironing. Thank you for making sure I'm not bored. Oh, that sounds horrible. Hey, Richard's gay son. Look at this. I was going to do a special occasion speech in college about Bitcoin reaching 100K, but I decided not to. That would have been fun. Yeah, I mean, the shitty reality of that is like it probably would have aged very well, but at the time you might have gotten booed off the stage. People just aren't there yet. People just aren't there yet, but they will be. Okay, well, let's start with a bit of news here because I do have some things that I really want to talk about. First of all, First of all, big news out of the channel today. We got 5 people watching over on Zapstream, but I only see 1 comment in there so far. Zapstream's been shitty lately. Oh, Craig's over there. Craig, what are you watching on Zapstream or sats.gg or a nostr client? But big news, huge news, some might even say. Let me see if I can find it here quickly. I don't know where it would be. Shit. I should have looked at this before trying to do it. I don't know where it is now. Okay, well, I mean, it's right here. We hit a big milestone this week, my friends. We hit a very big milestone on the channel. And if this isn't worthy of a Fat Zap Friday, I don't know what could be. Look at this. The channel, the 88 Sats radio channel. We hit 1 million views. I had no idea. Last time I looked at that, it was like 300,000 maybe. And I thought that was pretty good. But we hit 1 million views. Pretty impressive. And this one's a little bit, oh no, that was the wrong one. So pretty impressive, I would say. And I just wanted to say thanks to everybody here, because I know that, you know, everybody doesn't support financially the channel, but just by showing up, just by being in the chat, just by sharing videos. I had a couple people over the last couple of days said that they've shared a few clips from the channel with friends and family. So consider that. You know, don't send them like a full show. They're going to be bored out of their mind probably watching me talk about Bitcoin for an hour and a half. But like, I put clips on the show every day. I clip it afterwards. I try to make them like 3 to 10 minutes long. So, you know, if any of those videos resonate with you, either share it on your social platforms or share it with friends and family directly. I feel like that's much easier to digest. But make sure that they have a little bit of background on Bitcoin before sending them, because otherwise they'll just ignore it. Ode to Satoshi. Is that one of our songs, or is that a different song? I know that there's a Satoshi, Ballad of Satoshi. Yeah, the Ballad of Satoshi. I haven't even listened to all these songs yet. But you can see like the album here, there's 9 songs on it. I don't even know which one my favorite is, honestly. I love the Bitcoin Amigos song. I love the Bangin' Friday Show Rock and Roll. I love Fat Zap Friday. I love the Bangin' Friday Show Western version. And the Sats You Saved Today. That's the one we started the show with yesterday. And I'm pretty sure Chris shared one of these songs with Max Kaiser. So hopefully he likes it. Hopefully he gives us a little bit of traction there. But we would appreciate, check out the songs, zap them if you like them. And if not, then tell us, or just move on with your life. Yeah, I agree. Richard's gay son. Figured most of my classmates wouldn't understand the hype. Yeah, don't waste your time. DCA Friday. It has been 4 years this week. Wow. Scrappy dog. Good on you, my friend. Actually, that's something that we're going to be talking about today in the second part of the show, is the last 4 years. And I'm going to share like a 10-minute clip, and then I'm going to talk about kind of what people need to be doing for the next year or two in terms of what's coming, in terms of Bitcoin, in terms of the economy, in terms of how you can start preparing for it now. Hey, Craig zapped 1,000 sats for Arnie insurance. Thank you, Craig. Watching on Zapstream. Nice. Well, it seems to be working fine for me today. And Letha zapped 1,000 sats. Good morning. Thank you, Letha. Okay, so we got the 1 million views out of the way. That was the big news from today. What the hell? Oh, here it is. All right, and let's start the show here because I got a few somewhat negative things to talk about. So let's start the show with something positive. How about that? How's about that? Okay, here it is. This is a great video. I found it on Twitter this morning. I thought it was worth sharing. Oh, it's 3 minutes long, but I think it's going to bring a smile to your face. And what the hell is going on here? Are we laggy? No, okay. I think it's going to bring a smile to your face. I think that this is a good video to share on Friday. Everybody's in a good mood. This is going to put you in a better mood and gives you a little bit of hope. I think that's the one thing that Bitcoin has provided me with more than anything is hope for the future. And the last month and a half, we've seen some pretty strong indications that where we're going to is going to be much different than where we've been. So let's take a look at this. I love this video.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me?
In a time not so far removed, the world seemed a bit simpler, at least through the eyes of a kid growing up in the heart of America. Back then, we had something special. A culture where freedom of expression wasn't just allowed, it was celebrated. Making fun of each other wasn't about malice, and it usually wasn't even mean. It was a rite of passage, a way to laugh about our differences, unifying us through humor. Sure, there were bullies, but they played an important role. By pushing us, they taught us to push back, to stand up for ourselves, to fight for what we believed in. A clever comeback was like a right hook with a smile.
You play ball like a girl!
It was all part of growing up and learning life lessons that molded our character. Everyone got their turn, and it was worth it. But as time went on, people got lazy. They got soft. The culture went woke, and suddenly everything was offensive. Every joke had to be justified, and the spontaneity of youth was replaced with caution. Our carefree spirit replaced by the twisted calculations of political correctness. Victimhood became a virtue, and cancel culture reigned supreme. Then a miracle happened. God stepped in, and we, the people, stood up. We elected a new president, a leader who promised to bring back the laughter, the color, the soul. This president, with a nod to the past, aims to make our culture great again, a pledge to reignite the magic of yesteryears.
Mr. Donald! Oh my God!
Not just bringing back jobs, but bringing back the joy of unapologetic humor.
This ain't Johnny Carson, motherfucker.
The freedom of expression without the fear of offense. Now we're seeing a renaissance. The music is getting louder again, the colors brighter, and the laughter, well, it's starting to sound a lot like it used to. Maybe it's not a return to the past, but a rebirth of the spirit that made those times so special. So here we are, standing at the crossroads of nostalgia and revival, looking forward to what's next with the same hopeful eyes we had when we first watched the world through the window of our childhood. And maybe, just maybe, we're learning that the best parts of our past can still light the way for our future. And maybe we're about to enter a new golden age, a golden age where the wonder years start now.
Oh, baby, how you all I need is my
I don't know about you, but I had several goosebumps there watching that one, and that was the second time I watched it this morning. It's good. It's good. It's much needed. And I really believe that we're going to a much different place. I believe the worst is behind us now. And what's coming here is we're going to unlock something that we never even dreamed to be possible in our lifetime. And it's crazy to say and to think, but I truly deep down believe that. So it's good. By the way, if you've never watched the movie Sandlot, a lot of those clips were from the movie Sandlot, one of my favorite movies, maybe my favorite movie of all time. I'd say probably up there for sure. Sandlot, great movie. If you want some nostalgia this weekend, watch The Sandlot. Basically, I mean, there's a lot of people. I think the demographic of the people who watch the show would be around my age and above, probably. And so, I mean, if you watch Sandlot, it's a very good reminder of what our childhood was like. Without phones, you just drive around town on your bike looking for friends, playing baseball, playing hockey. I love that movie. So I want to share that with everybody because, you know, we've lived through some dark days in the last couple of years and beyond that, but we're going in the right direction. And especially if you're here now watching the show, yours is going to be a little bit different perspective and experience than everybody else, but it's going to be a net positive for everybody. Everybody. Brennan's in the chat. Good morning, Brennan. Oh, Jason will be above zero. Actually, it's going to be like -9 here. I think it's going to get to today. Brennan's got a Portuguese water dog, Marco. He's fucking nuts. That's good stuff. Tommy D, good morning. Thank you for the congrats. Thank you for the subs. I appreciate that. You should get 1 million sats for 1 million. Yeah, I agree. That's the thing that bothers me. It's like all those hours, all those views, and like the amount that I've got back from YouTube is like laughable. But you know, it's the zaps, it's the comments, it's the other things along the way that make, you know, it worth showing up here. No thanks to YouTube, that's for sure. Zane, good morning, my friend. Richard's gay son says, funny how Trump literally called Bitcoin a scam, but now he's hailed as some sort of hero in the community. I mean, I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one and this comment as well. Because I actually just watched Eric Trump's video last night, his speech from Dubai, Bitcoin conference in Dubai. And he made one comment in there that I think would make people rethink their whole Trump Bitcoin stance. Eric Trump said that he's known Michael Saylor for 20 years. 20 years. And he also said something along the lines of when Saylor got into Bitcoin in the very early days, I didn't know what it was. I thought he was crazy, but he turned out to be right. So that to me, he said something like that. And I thought, wait a sec, like didn't Saylor just get into Bitcoin like 4 years ago? How are you talking about very early days of Bitcoin when he understood it? So this is just my theory on the whole thing, but I really believe that if you look at some of the different parts, and I'm actually going to talk about this today on the Bitcoin Amigo show a little bit further in depth. But if you look at some of the things that have happened, other than what Trump said, called it a scam a couple of years ago. But if you look at his best, like his number one guy, General Flynn, he actually tweeted about Bitcoin back in 2015. And then you look at his sons have both been in there for a while. They've known Saylor for 20 years, which is kind of just a new thing that we've uncovered here. But also Melania wished Satoshi a happy birthday a couple years ago on Twitter. So, I mean, when you're a guy like Trump and you have the influence, the worldwide influence, not just in America or North America, but like his words carry a lot of meaning. And so I think that he had to be very careful with how he went about this whole thing. And it's very funny to me. It's very funny to me that Trump comes out and announces or is in support of this strategic Bitcoin reserve in America, right? And all of a sudden you have countries from around the world. All of a sudden it's Russia's buying some, adding it to their strategic reserve. All of a sudden you have Vancouver doing the same thing. All of a sudden you have China making Bitcoin and crypto legal again for citizens to own. All of these things happened after Trump announced this. So it makes you wonder if he has that much influence, or if they weren't supposed to get into this until everything was ready to go. And again, I have a conspiracy mind. I think that's why a lot of people watch the show. And that could be wrong. That could be right. We don't really know right now. But there's just too many things. There's too many dots being connected here for Trump to just wake up one day a couple months ago and decide, you know what? I like this Bitcoin thing. I'm going to sell all the gold in America and buy Bitcoin. You really think that that's how this thing played out? I mean, if you believe that, then I don't know. I got some oceanfront property to sell you in Arizona. I don't know. Morning, Josh. Good to see you. Lori says that made me a little teary-eyed. Yeah, me too. I definitely had some chills running down the spine watching that, because you know we've lived through times like that. We know how good things can be, and I think we're going into a time that's going to be much better than those days. It's going to be different, but it's going to be much better, in my opinion. Kev, good morning. Sandlot, what a classic, and definitely brings me back to a simpler time. Yeah, that's why I love that. I love watching that movie. Morning, Brandon. Dale says, as a Gen Xer, that video is spot on. I love growing up in the 80s. Best music, best parties, best times. The hamster wheel spun so much slower. Isn't that true? Isn't that the truth? Sunshine. Zap 420 sats over in the Zap stream. Thank you, Sunshine. Appreciate that. Hey, Henry, one of our Bitcoin journeymen. 99% of people start from the position that Bitcoin is a scam. Truth. Pedro, look at this. It's a good segue. This is a good segue today. Let me find this. All right, so the big news in Bitcoin today. This is the main thing that I want to talk about on today's show. Let me take a sip of coffee first. All right, so Pedro says, good morning, 88 sats. Thinking about consolidating UTXOs on Ledger using Sparrow Wallet. Any tips on this? Well, let me introduce this tweet to you first before you go any further. So we had a guy or a girl, but that's it. They said, hey, Ledger, tonight I lost 10 Bitcoin and 1.5 million worth of NFTs stored on my Ledger, Nano S. The Ledger was purchased directly from you. The seed phrase was stored in a secure location, never entered anywhere online. I never signed any malicious transactions. Everything is in my physical possession. I haven't touched the Ledger in 2 months. Can you explain what happened? So before we shit on Ledger too hard here, it's important to note that there is a community note on this. And by the way, these community notes, before Elon, they were a joke. But now, like, they are actually helpful, because it says, the community note says, it appears this person signed a phishing transaction 3 years ago, as explained in this post. Also, the Bitcoin wallet address the user claims has been hacked shows 0 transactions, no proof of any lost Bitcoin. So we're going to say yes, that is helpful and easy to understand. Directly addresses the post claims. Submit. I like these community notes because it is very easy for things to get spiraled out of control on things like Twitter. But so there's a couple important things here. First of all, there's a lesson to be learned here. Even though we don't know the full story yet, this is just brand new today. So it's always kind of risky when you're covering things an hour after, or a couple hours after things come out. It's important to get some background, some more information on it. But I still think that there are lessons to be learned from this issue right here. So first of all, I don't know if he actually lost the Bitcoin. It doesn't look like the address that he provided, according to community notes, never had any transactions. So I don't know if that part's legitimate. But if you look at the comments and you look at some of the things that have been shared since then, it does look like they actually lost a lot of NFTs and a lot of stuff in the altcoin world. So basically what I'm going to say here is I'm going to give some tips, because even though we don't know if this story is legitimate or not and what the actual a story is on this, we don't know that yet. So forget about this. I'm just going to give you some tips in terms of how you can avoid this yourself. So number one, if your Bitcoin hardware device has ever touched a USB port, I would replace it. Because I don't know enough to know, and I don't know how this happened. I don't know how any of this stuff happens. I'm not a technical guy. I don't know the inner workings of a laptop. I don't know who gets access to it after you purchase it, any of that. I don't know. So I'm just going to stay on the side of caution here. I don't use any devices that have been plugged into USB. All of my devices are air gapped. And the best devices to be air gapped are the Cold Card, the Blockstream Jade, and the Foundation Passport. So if you've had a hardware device with some Bitcoin on it or altcoins and it's ever been plugged into USB, I would just strongly consider getting a new one. Get a new one, start fresh, air gap it, move everything over there, and you'll sleep better at night. And number two here, if your hardware device has any altcoins on it, get a new one, replace it. So if it has a USB port, if it's ever been plugged into a USB, replace it. And if it has any sort of altcoins mixed in there, that allows for a secondary attack vector into that wallet or that device. So get rid of it. The nice thing that you can do, though, let's say that you have a Ledger, let's say that you have a Trezor or a Tangem. I don't know if Tangem is plugged in or not, but any device that has been plugged into USB, like don't panic. You're probably okay. But the nice thing that you're going to be able to do is just use that wallet as a decoy wallet. So I know it sucks. You wasted some money on it. You spent some time setting it up, but just use that as your decoy wallet going forward. So with the decoy wallet, you keep about 5-10% on there, and then you have 90% of your stack on an air-gapped wallet, Bitcoin only air-gapped wallet. And number three, this is an important lesson, because if you look at the comments here, it shows that there was a phishing attempt from 3 years ago. So somebody accessed this 3 years ago. That, according to this, again, this could be wrong, but this is still something that very well could happen. So that's why I'm talking about it. So number three is, just because the Bitcoin or altcoins are there today, that doesn't mean they're going to be there tomorrow, right? Because keep in mind here, you have to put yourself in the position of a hacker, right? Let's say you have a Ledger and you've connected to the USB port, or you've done something you shouldn't have. Maybe you clicked a link that you shouldn't have. You put your seed phrase into a place you shouldn't have. Just because the Bitcoin's still there today, that doesn't mean that nobody's has access to that wallet, right? Because from the hacker's perspective, let's say you're doing a DCA. Every month you send Bitcoin from your exchange to your Ledger. And the hacker who has access to this wallet, you don't know they have access to it, but they do. And they see you feeding that with Bitcoin every single month. Do you think that they would move coins out of there and stop the gravy train? Or do you think they would just wait, sit back, wait, and let you keep feeding it? And then one day, just like this guy, and again, I don't know if this is legit. I don't know the full story here, but just like this guy, all of a sudden you wake up one day and everything's gone. So don't assume that just because your Bitcoin is there today, that nobody else has access to that wallet right now. That's what I would say on that. That was my main thing that I wanted to talk about today. So Pedro, to answer your question, I would say don't waste any more time. Honestly, like, I just wouldn't risk it. I don't care how safe people say that Ledger wallets are. I just would not trust it. I don't. There's been too many bad things happen with Ledger. They've tried pushing through updates without telling their users. There's just been too many things happen with Ledger. You have so much at risk here with your Bitcoin to be storing it on a Ledger. So that's what I would say, is just use your Ledger, forget about it, use it as your decoy wallet, get yourself cold card, a Jade, or a passport, and put the majority of your Bitcoin on that. You'll sleep much better at night, I promise you. And speaking of that, on that note, if you are somebody with a Ledger or Trezor and you're looking for a air gap device, also I talked to Dale yesterday, and it looks like it was just a glitch on the website here. So this multi-sig bundle is back in stock now, but this is just the Jade. So if you don't want to tap into the multi-sig yet, you can just start with an air gapped wallet like the Blockstream Jade. So with this, you get the Jade, you get the stamp seed. Make sure your seed phrase is on titanium, protected from the elements. And this bundle is a starter kit. It's everything you need to secure your Bitcoin. You don't have to go anywhere else, buy anything else. So $425 Canadian, and if you use the code 88SATS, 88SATS, you get 15% off of that. So it looks like we've been selling quite a few of these by the number of in-stock ones going down. So that is great news. People are air gapping their Bitcoin. And then once again, there's a multi-sig option here too. If you're somebody who has like more than 50 million sats, I would just order one of these. And again, even if you're not going to set it up in the next, even a year, I would still suggest getting this now, getting the devices in your possession across the border or whatever you need to do. And then just start learning about multi-sig, start asking for help from people, and then you have it. Because things like this, and again, this one's $949 Canadian, 15% off of that. So it's about, I think, $550, $600 American. So you get 3 devices, you get the stamp seed, you get some extra plates for each one of your devices. Absolute no-brainer, in my opinion. And so the link to that is right at the very top. It says Bitcoin Starter Kit. It'll take you to the QuickBit website. But the other thing I was going to say on that is, like, with this Ledger news now, I guarantee, even though people won't take the time to actually look at what happened, people with Ledger are going to shit their pants, and they're going to start ordering these. And these hardware devices, there's not like an unlimited supply of them, right? So I wouldn't wait. If you're in a position right now with a Ledger, Trezor, something that plugs into a USB and that's where your Bitcoin's held, I wouldn't wait. I would just order a device. You'll sleep much better at night. And if you need any help setting it up, you can just reach out to me. We got some funny Trump comments here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the Bitcoin on this thing. I don't know if that's legitimate or not. Boss says, I transferred my Ledger into an alternative cold storage. You need to update your Jade. Yeah, you should be updating your firmware as much as you can. I've never updated it on the Jade itself yet. Mine's only about 2 months old now, so I haven't updated it yet. But it's important with like Cold Card, with Passport, any device, you should be keeping up with the firmware. Don't do it like instantly. Don't have like auto install on, but just be aware of stuff like that. Yeah, this is what everybody should be doing. Ren says, the very minute Ledger released the news announcing firmware on certain devices, backing up seed phrases, I dumped that seed, not just the wallet. Market Anarchy says, the problem with Tangem is it reuses the same Bitcoin address. Yeah, like that's a problem. If you got an air gap device like the Jade, you connect it to your Sparrow wallet, you're going to have like 30, 40 different receive addresses within that same wallet on Sparrow. So it's very good for your privacy, because when you go to send that Bitcoin in the future, you don't want people to be able to look back and see your balance and all your transactions. Look at this. Rick says, that's what happened to me. I woke up on a Saturday and 2 Bitcoin was gone from my Exodus wallet. Pretty much all the crypto I had. That's brutal. That is brutal. Market Anarchy says, also keys are generated on your iPhone. It says it's safe, but I moved to a cold card with new keys. That's what I recommend everybody do, honestly. If you got more than like 10 million sats, I would say you should definitely be looking into an air-gapped hardware wallet. At the time, the value was 10K, much less than today. Wow. So even it would have been shitty then, but it's even more shitty now, Rick. I can't even imagine. Juice says, do you need to save the XPub key when you do the multi-sig? I think it's recommended. I don't think that you need to necessarily. I think that that was kind of like before we had all the updates and firmware updates and stuff like that. I think that that was more important, but it probably wouldn't be the worst idea just to have a backup of that. I'm 99% sure you'll still be able to restore the multi-sig without the XPub key, but it's never a bad idea to just back things up, especially with Bitcoin. Better to send it out and get a new. I agree. Pause. I bought the Jade and then realized I don't have a webcam. Yeah, that's shitty. I mean, you could probably just go to like your family's house or your friend's house and do it there. Like it's not going to compromise anything. You're basically just, yeah, I guess you need to have the Sparrow. You need a laptop. So that's kind of shitty. I don't know if you necessarily need a brand new one or not, but because it's air gap, you're not connecting anything to the laptop. Ian says, can you pay with Bitcoin? Like for my services or for the devices? Richard's gay son. All right, I got to wrap things up here. Shit, I'm late. Do you think having 1.1 Bitcoin, 10 million sats in your early 20s? Oh, 100%. 10 million sats, you're off to the best start that you could ever imagine, and just keep getting as many Bitcoin as you can. All right, I'm jumping over the second part here. I'm already late. So I hope you join us. We got some really, really special things going on in the Living in the Future community. Trust me. Actually, you don't have to trust me. You can just join, check out the videos. You can cancel it if you don't like what we're doing. But I do recommend, if you're watching the show, if you like, what we're doing here, you're going to love what's happening in Living in the Future right now. So I'm jumping over there right now. We're doing part 7 of multi-generational wealth. I would say that series alone, forget about the signal, forget about the Discord, forget about the 8 Satoshis. The multi-generational wealth course itself, this is the 7th episode already. That alone is worth far more than the monthly membership to the community there. So if you want to join, you can do that right at the top of the show notes. And I hope you do. You can always go back. You can see the full feed of everything we've ever posted in there. So you'll be up to speed pretty fast. So with that, we're going to jump over there right now. Make sure you join us 4 p.m. Eastern today for the Bitcoin Amigos show. I love it. I love Fridays. I love that the Amigos, and I'm looking forward to it. So bye to everybody, and we'll see you shortly to everybody else. What am I doing here? I need to end you. All right. Bye-bye. Did that work? Hey, Duchess is here. Look at that. Super chat. Join late. Thanks, George. See you in part 2. Thank you for that. All right. I got to do this fast. I might be the worst person on the planet for time management. I get too into what I'm doing, and I just completely forget about the time. All right. So what we're going to do here today, this is going to be part 7 of the multi-generational wealth course. And this is kind of a bonus one. I'm going to do 2 more. I'm going to do one focused on lightning management and like how to properly manage your Bitcoin. And I'm going to do one on inheritance planning. So we're actually going to do 9 instead of 8. This is the 7th one, but I think this is important as part of the thing, because it's, a lot of this is just, a lot of this is talking about the technical stuff of Bitcoin, but I do think that there's a lot of people here who are looking for something more and want something more with what they're doing every day. And so I had about a meeting or our meeting with Daniel from Living in the Future yesterday, and he reminded me of this video. We watched this months ago on Living in the Future, but I thought it was important to bring it back because there's a lot more members in here now, and I think this is a very important video to watch. So we're going to watch this, and then we're going to talk about how it's applicable to where we are right now.
Champions are broken. We're like, huh? He's like, people look at champions and try and find something that champion has that they don't have. He's like, but it's not that at all. He's like, they lack something everyone else has, which is an off button. They just don't stop. And at the end of the day, like if we're optimizing for outcomes, then the most broken person will win. The person who has the absolute biggest, desire for achievement, the absolute biggest fear or pain that they're running away from. And that's what's painful, is that it takes more effort to start in the beginning, and more people are right about the fact, they're like, hey, you're not going to hit it big. And guess what? A month in, you're not. But they're only measuring on months. And at 6 months, you're also not going to have hit it big yet. And they're going to be like, I'm still fucking right. And at a year, you're still not going to have hit it big. And they'll still be fucking right. And every day that you haven't hit it, they're going to feel like they were right. But they're wrong, because they're measuring in days and you're measuring in decades. Every single person who wants to do something with their life and has done something with their life has gone through the exact chapter that you're going through. And it's the lonely chapter. It's the chapter where you don't fit in with your own friends, but you don't have the outcomes yet to fit into a new group of friends. And you're doing this thing, you're consuming content on the internet, you're doing these free tutorials online to try and figure out how to set up a podcast and where do I host this thing? And then you're going through this and you're like, is this even worth it? Because you have no signs of success, right? But if there's anything that you can take away from what we're saying right now, is that the sign of success is the hate that you get along the way. And what you can't do is bend the knee to their hate and fit back into the conformity because it's comfortable and it's warm. Because like in the Matrix, when Trinity opens the door, when Neo's about to go take the red pill and he wants to get out of the car, she says, Neo, you've been down that road and you know exactly where it leads. And I know that's not where you want to be. If I would say, hey, how would you if you had to create a human, what would you put them through to make them tough? It probably wouldn't be a really chill life.
Yeah.
What would you put them through to make them patient? You probably wouldn't give them things immediately. And so it's like, we want these traits, but each of the traits has a price tag attached to it. It's just like, do you want to pay the price tag to get the thing? And so I think if people reframe the period of life that they're going through as the price that they're paying out of their wallet, but the wallet is their time, it's the seconds of life that they're trading for it, then I think more people will be willing to make the trade. Because at least when I look at myself, like when I'm 80 something years old and I'm looking back on my life, I want to have these traits. But in order to have those traits, I know I have to go through these things. And I think for me, that's given me a lot of comfort in hard times. What would you do if you weren't afraid? And I love thinking about that when I'm thinking about big life decisions. Like, what would I do if I weren't afraid? And it's usually like the big one, the bigger thing that I really want to do, but I'm afraid to do it. It's like, that's what I should do. And to your point about the 5 things that you told your team, the one that we have is originally it was something that we called 1 of 1, which is make only things that we can make. Most people's definition of work is a -1, which is why they abhor it, which is also why they misunderstand so many people who quote, I'll say quote here, are successful or ahead of them or whatever, is that both people, one person says the word work and the other person hears the word pain. And so the first step to like becoming more successful is understanding the language that the people who are successful are using. They're actually defining the word differently. And so whatever that thing is that you actually enjoy doing, where you lose track of time when you're in it, even if it's challenging, but usually it is challenging, right? Like it's not easy because then it's boring, right? Which is also why the uncertainty thing is so key, right? To not knowing if it's gonna work or not. You are gonna work though, either way. Is that the people who are quote addicted to work make it easy to be addicted to work because they do things worth doing. And I think a lot of it is coming down to making sure that you take the few precious seconds that we have to do the few things that are worth doing for the rest of your life. It won't get harder. Like, this is the hardest part. And so if you can just make it through this, everything else is downhill. It's not that the things that the dragons are going to slay aren't going to get bigger. They are, but you become so much more equipped to slay them back. And you have so many more allies. You have people in the stands cheering for you. You have the audience. You have all of these other things that are behind you. But in the beginning, it's just you with a stick against a bear. And arguably that fight is a harder fight to win than beating a dragon when you have a nuclear bomb and 6 nations behind you. And so it's not even like the size of the hardship, it's just also the resources and how few of them you have, and how so much of the beginning is literally burning the one thing you have, which is time, because you have no leverage. You don't have the money to pay other people to help you. You don't have the resources to go like get someone no one can learn it for you. It's like there's a lot of the things that we care about a lot. Like no one can work out for you. It doesn't matter how much money you have. No one can learn skills for you. And so in the early days, Like it feels so painful because you're like, you look around to see who can help you. And then you're like, fuck, it's me again. What are we optimizing for? What problem are we solving? It's my favorite. It's probably the number one most frequently asked question that I ask to our portfolio companies whenever we're about to do anything, which is what problem are we solving? If the problem that we're solving is that I want to be content, well, there's a lot of ways to do that. You don't need to do all these other things. If the problem you're solving is that you want to be the richest man in the world, well, you're going to have a lot of superiority complex. You're going to have a lot of crippling insecurity, and you're going to have a lot of impulse control, and you're going to have to wait a long time. Every hardship that you encounter, if you reframe it as the story that you will someday tell to yourself of the person that you've become based on the dragons you've slain and the obstacles you've overcome, then I think that makes those obstacles a unique opportunity for self-improvement, because we can be grateful for these things. I think Jocko has a whole bit on this where whenever something bad happens, he says good. And I think it's a great trained response, because if something bad happens, my trained response isn't good. It's, I will tell this story someday. And so I think if you have that frame, then everything serves you. Because if something good happens, cool. If something bad happens, it'll be a story that I will someday tell. Because it assumes that you will live through it. And it assumes that you will eventually figure it out. And so then you can't lose, as long as you don't quit. There's a teacher and he's got 2 classes that he teaches. And one class, he says, the only assignment for this whole semester is that you come back with a perfect clay pot. That's it. That's the assignment. The other class, he says, your objective is to make the most total quantity of clay pots, and you'll be measured by how many pots you make. And at the end of the quarter, the pots that came from the team that had to just make sheer volume, not only did they make more pots, but the quality of all of their pots was better compared to the teams that only had to make one. And it just underlines the biggest lesson that I've learned in my life, which is that volume negates luck, is that you can try to be lucky and pick the one perfect thing and try and make it. But if you don't want to try and be lucky, you can just do so much fucking work that you will brute force your way to figuring it out. Like if you do 1,000 podcasts, you'll be pretty fucking good at podcasts. To make yourself feel better about why your product isn't as good as it should be, but you have an excuse that only you need to believe. And you believe that excuse, so it excuses you from working harder on the stuff you know you should be doing but aren't. And that work, the work you know you should be doing but aren't, is the opportunity, because that is the work that your competitors also aren't doing. And I'm telling you from the bottom of my soul, it is so easy to beat people today. They are so soft. They have no work ethic. No one can stick with anything. Everyone's distracted. They're on social media. They're counting their fucking notifications because they can't stick with shit. They can't say no.
All right, I'm casually leaning back here like I got all the time in the world here. All right, what a video. That one's called The Lonely Chapter. That's on YouTube. You can find that if you want to. Daniel was the one who refreshed my mind on that one. I love that. I love that so much. It's because it's so true. It's so true. And I feel like, yeah, there's been some tough days here for sure. But, you know, I very much resonated with every word that came out of his mouth there. But anyways, Bodhi zapped 421 sats. Thank you, Bodhi. I didn't even see that. Appreciate that. Who's in the video? That was Alex Hormozzi. You can just search The Lonely Chapter. That's what that one's called. And Craig says, FYI, multi-sig need to store all XPubs to maintain control. So in a 3 of 5, you need to have all 5 saved and backed up. There you go. I didn't know that. I thought that we had things in place for that now where you could easily restore. But thank you, Craig. So keep in mind, anybody with a multi-sig out there, make sure you have a copy of all of your XPubs, all of them. So Duchess says, awesome quote, volume negates luck. That was the one thing that I noticed in that video too. I love that quote because it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And I've lived through that myself. So anyways, the reason I want to show that today is because there is much more here than just Bitcoin. There's more than just money at stake, right? I think a lot of people are here more for the freedom aspect of than anything else. I think if we took a survey of everybody in this Living in the Future community and probably people who watch the show, their main goal probably wouldn't be to become rich. It would probably be to become free, to increase your freedom. And I think that if you are somebody out there, regardless of how many Bitcoin you have right now, if you're still going to work every day, 9 to 5, working for somebody else, they're taking your time, they're benefiting off of you. That's not freedom to me. And it doesn't matter how many Bitcoin you have saved and what your plans are to retire. If you're not actively working towards doing something yourself for this new future that we're going into, then I think you're messing up. And so I just put myself back, and I know that in 4 years from now, when we're looking back, when it's December 13th, 2028, I know there's going to be people on YouTube or whatever platform we're using there, hopefully Zapstream or something like that. But there's going to be new YouTube channels. There's always going to be new YouTube channels popping up about Bitcoin every time it happens, because I was thinking about it today. Like 4 years ago today, I was still working my job as a CPA. I was buying Bitcoin, but I had no idea what Bitcoin was. And so if you are somebody who just got into Bitcoin, like let's say in 2024, and you feel very overwhelmed, and you feel like no matter how many podcasts and videos you watch, you can't really keep up, the thing that you're missing there is just time. It takes time. Everything takes time. And so if you start mapping this out in your head right now, and you say, okay, 4 years from now or 3 years from now, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to learn as much as I can along the way, and I'm just going to start doing it. Or you can do it sooner than that. And when this next cycle rolls around, the Bitcoin price goes up, but there's also other cycles that happen throughout Bitcoin. And one of those is podcasts and YouTube channels and advisory firms and stuff and everything related to Bitcoin. Every cycle it happens. So if you can understand the fact that you still have so much time to do this based on where you are, even if you just got into Bitcoin in 2024, if that's something that you want to do, if that's your purpose that you feel is that you need to tell as many people about Bitcoin as you can and educate people about Bitcoin and speak honestly and impactfully about Bitcoin, then you should start doing it. And I know that there's going to be a small percentage of people in this group who actually do it and want to do that, but you can apply that to anything that you're interested in. Just start doing it, because we're moving into a whole different economy here. We're moving into a whole different world. And the world that we knew, the 9 to 5, the human labor, all that stuff is going away because it's being replaced by AI and robots. And so people are going to we're moving from the human resource, the labor economy, into the attention economy. And the sooner you can understand that and realize that and start preparing yourself for that, the better off you're going to be. So the one thing I would say, because I know that, this isn't going to resonate with everybody here, but the one thing I would say is over this next year, 2025, I want you to get yourself a notepad. 2 notepads. I just added one here. 2 notepads. One of those notepads, you're going to spend 10, 15, 20 minutes every day writing down ideas. And a lot of them, 99% of them are going to be fucking horrible. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear. I forgot this was multi-generational wealth course. That's only my second one in 7 episodes. That's pretty good. But so you're going to write down every idea that you have. You can say like things to improve the local coffee shop, or things I would talk about on a YouTube channel, or things I do really well, or people I look up to. Just start brainstorming things every morning for 10, 15, 20 minutes. And again, a lot of them are going to be very bad, but there's going to be something there, and you're going to start building your creative muscles. And the second notepad, you're going to, every time you learn something new in Bitcoin, you're going to write that down. And an example for me from Craig here, that multi-sig, you need to store all of your XPubs. That's something I learned today. So I would write that in the notepad and do that every single day. Just keep that notepad with you. And as you're listening to podcasts, consuming videos, write down every time you learn something new, just write it down. Because if you learn something based on where you are today, there's going to be billions of people coming after you that are also going to need to learn that. And so with the 8 Satoshis venture that we're working towards, I want people to be adding videos, adding education, adding content to the library, because the more valuable we can make that library and that network, the more it's going to benefit every person who's here today. So those are my 2 actionable items. That has been episode 7 of Multi-Generational Wealth. And this has been Friday. So I have 3 minutes. That's not bad. I left myself 3 minutes here. So I hope you all have an amazing Friday today. Thank you for the zaps, Bodhi, Sunshine, Letha, and Craig. Very much appreciated. And anybody who sent into Arnie's wallet today. Looks like, I'm guessing Duchess did. They sent a super chat, and I'm sure there's some in the wallet as well. Josh just ordered the Jade. That a boy. We have to take the stuff seriously because you only get one shot at this thing. You get one shot. Just imagine you woke up tomorrow and all your Bitcoin was gone. What would you do? How would that feel? I can't even imagine, honestly. And so I'm doing every single thing that I can personally and for the people who watch the show to prevent that from happening. So have yourselves a great Friday. Make sure you stop by today for the Bitcoin Amigo show at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And we'll see you then. Bye-bye.